There's less than a week left until future Redeemed releases, and Monolith Soft just bombarded us with new information left and right. We've got new trailer, we've got the website, and we've got new Twitter posts to cover. So instead of doing a fully fledged analysis for the game that comes out in under a week, I will just point out details and references you might have missed, so let's get started. But first of all, if you want to support this small and new channel, I would really appreciate it if you would leave a like and sub. Thank you very much. Let's start with the basics. For people who still have doubt that this is a prequel and this is not the Founders DLC, we literally see every one of the Founders here. Well, almost. We will get to the missing ones, but let's start with the characters we already saw. Matthew's granddad is named Ghondor, and this is confirmed in the affinity chart from the website. He is the founder of the first city, so he is indeed N and M's child. This makes this scene where N is literally stabbing his own son even harder to watch. My only question remaining is how Mio came up with the name Ghondor when we know that Noah is actually the one that is bad at naming stuff. So maybe Mio came up with Van Damme and Noah came up with Ghondor. Just a little side theory, but who knows. We actually see more of him in Twitter posts, though it's not very much. We see him train with Matthew and Nail, so there should be at least some cutscenes before the city gets destroyed. This new character is named Glimmer and is most definitely Pyra's daughter with Rex. You can clearly see the Numa core crystal on her chest. She's a healer and wields a staff that is on fire but also acts as an instrument. Her class is called something like Fire Instrumentalist, but we haven't gotten the English translation yet. Then we see this new kid named Nikol who appears with this new type of weapon on his back. These mechanical hands. Listen, I don't think it's too far-fetched to say this is Shulk's and Fiora's kid, right? He looks a lot like Shulk, but also has features from Fiora like some of the hair parts and her eye colors, so yeah, that's their son. They are both in the cycle Zed created. Nikol is from Kevis, while Glimmer is from Agnes. We can clearly see their lifespan tattoos on them. They seem to be enemies in the first section of the game like normally until they are both freed from the flame clock and become Ouroboros. We can actually see Matthew's gauntlet is activating the Ouroboros in them in this cutscene, which is strange because there doesn't seem to be an Ouroboros stone around, so how is he doing this with his gauntlet alone? And there can only be 6 Ouroboros, so I wonder how this will play out. Another important fact, we know from their statues in the base game that they both surpass 80 years, but that's impossible when we clearly see them have their marks on them, so even if they become Ouroboros they can't surpass their lifespan. That's another mystery for the game to solve, I guess. So let's talk about Matthew and Nail. They are both siblings, which means they are both descendants from Noah and Mio. So yeah, Nail definitely resembles Mio and Nia in that regard, even from the core crystal. But what's even funnier is that she resembles the beta design from Nia back in the Xenoblade 2 art book. So Saito took the old concept and put it into Nail. But things get kind of crazy with her. The website tells us she is nowhere to be found after the city gets destroyed and we only see her again later on. But then she suddenly has console looking armor with Monado wings and Alvis core crystal. Technically she can't actually be a console either way because the letter N is already taken. I have no idea what's going on here. I don't have much of a theory, but we have to wait. There's only 1 week left. We will find out eventually. But now that we were at Alvis and his core, let's talk about actual best new girl. Maybe. I don't know. Alvis. It's Alvis. Or A as they call her everywhere. She's definitely console A, right? We haven't seen console A at all yet and she has Mobius looking armor and only 1 letter. Case closed, I would say. She's a healer class and wields a Monado. Yes. We even see Monado symbols appear on the Monado, with one of them being Monado Buster right here. Her class is even called Monado Fencer, but funnily enough, none of her arts we've seen so far are actually called Monado Buster, but she has 2 arts that Alvis used in Xenoblade 1. The only 2 arts he used in Xenoblade 1. Striker Edge and Cross Ray. Then she has Light Field and her talent move is Vision. Straight up grants visions. And in one of the clips we even see her pull out one of Alvis's wings. Okay, who are they trying to fool here? This is Alvis. Can I explain to you how or why? No. But I can only point out that this scene with Alvis and the crew plays before the events of the main DLC, because Rex and Shulk didn't lose an eye and an arm here yet. So after defeating, or I don't know, arguing with Alvis in this cutscene, he became A. I have no idea. In a recent new clip we finally see her in action and she seems busted. Vision grants party-wide evasion like Ghost Factory from Elma, and after it's done it has a move that has AoE damage that looks crazy. She's also an offensive healer like the Twitter post suggests. So she's a healer, an evasion tank and a DPS? Bruh, sign me up. Also, what is even more important, she only has one of Alvis's wings, which would imply to me that she is half of Alvis. So do we need to get both Ontos earrings and perform a Potara fusion? I bet we do. While we are at it, we finally see the whole Trinity processor. This right here is peak fiction. After zooming into Ontos core, we can actually see that the name was translated differently in English for whatever reason. It says Ousia right here, and in the OG Japanese dub for Xenoblade 2, Klaus also refers to Alvis as Ousia. But because Ousia and Ontos are interchangeable in translation, the English localization thought, hey, why don't we just change it to be different? That's why I really don't like localization teams taking too much liberty with changing names for no apparent reason, and Xenoblade 2 did this a lot. Anyways, last characters to cover are both Rex and Shulk. Rex's first lines were actually memes, who would have guessed? He says, "I like your attitude, kiddo, and let's show him a thing or three." Both lines are directly from Xenoblade 2. We still can't be sure, but I definitely think he has a new voice actor for the English dub. It's the same voice actor for the Japanese dub though. We see he lost his left eye and still wields the fake Aegis swords. What happened to Pyra and Mithra? We still don't know. They are nowhere to be found. If they appear in the DLC, it's gonna be huge. His class is the Master Driver, which is very fitting, and the arts we see are his Xenoblade 2 arts with Anchor Shot and Double Spinning Edge, as well as Dual Blast, which is probably new, and his talent is Infinity Blade, which was his level 4 with Numa. And we actually see him combine both swords to fuse them into a single sword that resembles Numa's sword, and this scene recreates Numa's cutscene from Xenoblade 2 of course. Shulk's class is called Grand Soldier, and he wields the Monado Rex Plus, or Rex Kai as it's called in Japanese, which is his upgraded Monado Replica EX from Future Connected. One important thing to notice is that he actually summons the Rex Plus like people of Ionio summon their blades, so it received some kind of upgrade. But what is funny is that he pulls out the Monado out of his bag like it's physically there just because of old habits. He has his Stream Edge and Slit Edge back from Xenoblade 1, doing almost the exact same thing. Then he has Heavy Rush and Monado Buster, plus something like Monado Rage. And we actually see him use the symbols for Monado Buster and Monado Cyclone in the Monado Crush fusion attack animation. Both of them resemble their mentors a lot. Shulk lost his right arm and is a defender now, just like Damben lost his arm and was an evasion tank in Xenoblade 1. But his best friend was also a tank, so it adds up. Rex looks extremely like Zeke right now. Even though Zeke never lost his eye, the eye patch is on the same eye that Rex lost. But of course, you can say he took this two-sword style from Van Damme and even Morag probably to perfect it, and he looks extremely like Adam now. While Shulk really looks like Klaus now, which is funny because it was never explained why Shulk resembles Zanza so much even as a kid before being controlled by him. But alright, there's one final character we need to talk about. What the snuff are you doing here, Riku? Common Variety Nopon has to be the biggest cap anyone uttered in the Xenoblade franchise. Well, we knew he was hiding something, so hopefully we will get some answers this time around. And this was like 1,000 years ago because it plays during the time N destroys the first city to make M Mobius, and we saw M 1,000 years ago in one flashback, so yeah. Nopon are not inside the cycle Z created, but they also don't survive that long. We know most ages of all Nopon in Xenoblade 3, but Riku and the other Nopon smiths all have question marks for their age, so I have a theory. I already covered this in my last analysis as well, but Nia, Melia, Rex, Shulk and probably the Nopon smiths did not die during the collision of the two universes. We know Zed froze the time and wished for the endless now before everything was erased and Origin could restart. So a few people probably survived and aren't able to be recycled from Origin before the end of Xenoblade 3. That probably means they don't age or age very slowly in this frozen time. That's how Rex and Shulk are still around after so long. And if you are confused about the timeline, my latest analysis did cover it, so you can check it out in the description. But anyway, we know the world was never completely erased, because that is what the annihilation events are. The universe fusing together, and if both sides overlap, they cancel each other out. So Ionios is literally what's left of the worlds, and after the end of Xenoblade 3, they get erased to be recreated again by Origin. Now we need to talk about the people we don't see here. Shulk and Rex are not the actual founders of the second city. They were the mentors of two female characters that actually were the founders. So, the only thing we know of Shulk's prodigy was that they were unconnected by blood, but he raised her if she was a child of his own. It is also not mentioned if she was from the old city part or in the cycle, but my guess is that she's from the city and not the Shala kid we actually see in this scene. But who knows? And by the way, you know what time it was, right? It was wine time, baby. The only thing we know about Rex's prodigy is that she was young and impressible. Yeah, I don't know, this doesn't tell us much, does it? But I think at least it does deconfirm A, because from the little things we know from her, she seems to be level-headed and is also Alvis in my opinion. So could these two founder girls be that unimportant that we haven't seen them yet? Or are we just not supposed to know right now? I mean, we do see a random person in this important cutscene, so who knows? Maybe they will be important, maybe not. And then there's the case of the 7th founder. And yes, there was a 7th founder that didn't want to be recorded on purpose. This could be A, this could be Riku, this could be Nia, who knows? I want to see Nia again. Let's now jump into story and gameplay stuff. The first shot we see is N killing his son, and Ghondor is exploding. This is not an annihilation event. These are pre-signed by black smoke rushing towards the entity and only occur, as I said, when the two worlds are overlapping, which also happens with a fusion of one Kavesi and one Agnian soldier. Also, we clearly see the ruins of the city in the main game, but an annihilation event would have completely wiped out everything. So what is this? To me, this looks like an Ouroboros thing. Maybe that's how Matthew gets his Ouroboros powers with the gauntlet. In the explosion frames, we see Nail and some city folk standing there in the flames. Now pay closer attention to Nail. That's the first time we see her forehead, and it seems like she has some glowing symbols on them. Is this important to the plot? Well, we established that something is up with her in the end. I want to make an even crazier reach that I've seen on Twitter, so buckle up. In her official art we see she fights with magic instead of some kind of weapon, and what's even crazier is that these sparks resemble Mayneth's Monado. What? Listen, I just wanted to point out, take it or leave it, but something is up with that woman. In the few other shots we see her, she talks about that with or without Mobius, people will always kill people, and she has a lifeless expression after the city incident, so she seems to have lost faith, and that has also probably something to do with the story. Next up is the butt stab from A. Why in the butt though? I mean, she says it was below her to do that, but I mean, come on. This is a new Mobius fusion actually that we haven't seen before. We see more Mobius later that we haven't seen yet, but that makes perfect sense. They will just be replaced with other Mobius in the main game. The other Mobius here is actually fusing two Feroniuses to fight against us. That's cool, I guess. But as for Mobius, we know that X, Y and Z are definitely still around. We already saw N, and M is probably appearing at the end. And then maybe we will see Triton, but we can't say more about the others. I'm not really going to cover the battle system much, because I think there are other people who will do a way better job at this. Wink wink NL, wink wink Luxon. What is important is the new enemies we see here. They are actually fog beasts. This means the rift behind Alvis was actually connected to all of this. Hooray! Also, blade fusion combos seem to be back to some extent, with one of the finishers being Health Stream. I hope the announcer returns, but sadly in the Japanese gameplay clip there is no announcer. Fusion art now seem to grant new reactions that vary depending on which arts you fuse. Also, the Union Strike that both partners can perform for a cool combo can actually be customized as well. Look at peak fiction of Rex and Shulk doing a combined attack right here. Beautiful. The skill tree has now changed to this, which looks like Ino's Poppy Swap, but of course with experience instead. Completely new is this enemy encyclopedia. By defeating monster types and unique monsters, you can actually fill this up to get rewards like you did with the Collectopedia in older games. I am super excited about this, but also the real Collectopedia returns, which functions like the one in Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade X. This not only makes me happy because I like the system way more, but it also makes completely sense because we know Alexandria was the one that actually invented the Collectopedia stamps from the main game, and this doesn't happen until way later. And then jump scare. The Torna affinity chart is back. I really don't mind the affinity chart itself, but let's pray all together that the story progression is not locked behind it this time around. Now on to some locations we can actually confirm. We know the city is located in Erythea Sea. I don't know if we will be able to actually explore the old city outside of cutscenes because N will destroy the city pretty early in the game, so maybe Monolith Soft didn't want to make the whole city available just to take it away. But in the cutscenes we see Nail, it does take place outside of the city, so maybe we can explore it, who knows. We see Gawa Plains, or more accurately Bionis Lake in the old trailer, and in the new trailer we see a lot of the shots as well. This here could be near Alfeto Valley, but maybe it just looks similar. We also clearly see a new snowy area that could be Valak Mountain and Tantal fused, but it actually mostly resembles Tantal. We even see similar ruins in this clip in the background, and we can also see it in the main art piece for the game. What we can also see in the art piece is Prison Island in its full glory. We even see the team fighting end there, and also the lightning barrier seems to work again even though Zanza is not powering it up, and it's from this random character we don't know. And if you were wondering how it returned even though it should have been destroyed at this point, this isn't actually the first time we've seen stuff brought back from the past that should have been destroyed. I mean, the main game even had a whole Torna area with Dana Desert. Then only in a few shots we can see this underground area that reminds me of the underground stuff in Bionis Shoulder, but okay, I mean, I'm reaching at this point. Last but definitely not least, Colony 9 is back. We see it from the front, we see it from further back, and we see it from inside. This is Colony 9, but completely covered in moss and other vegetation. It's kinda crazy to see the place run down like this, and I really hope they have a new Colony 9 music rendition because that's actually my favorite song from the franchise. So Colony 9 is actually on Erythea Sea, but is so far to the right that it is probably in a place where nothing is left in the main game. An annihilation event will probably wipe out the entire area. And now I left the best for last, of course. What the actual snuff is Zed doing on our side? He says, "Is this how badly you wish to erase us? My god, could Zed really be on our side because we have the common goal of defeating Alvis, who wants to erase everything, but he does still refer to him as his god?" Well, we actually get an extended cutscene from this on Twitter, and this time it actually starts with Shulk and Rex yelling at him the same things they said in the old trailer without Zed talking to Alvis at all. So some kind of trailer magic is happening here, and we don't actually know why Zed said it, when he said it, or what he implied by that. I am super intrigued, but it only takes 1 week to find out, and I don't have enough time to make wild theories, so maybe that was their plan all along. Let's just wait and see. As a final message for this analysis, we know Nia gives M the key to the Cloud Keep later on, so there's still a huge chance we will see Nia return in this DLC, and I'm super down for that. Also, no sighting of Mythra and Pyra right now. Are they really gone, or are they keeping it a surprise? Well, Sky Bennett on her Twitter actually said that she's not voicing anything in this DLC, so maybe we will not see them at all, or maybe they will just be in an unvoiced cutscene or in a flashback, but we have to wait and see. So as I was writing the script and recording, we actually got even more information on Twitter, and will probably get more information till release, so I don't know if I will cover everything, but if something important happens, I will definitely cover it. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this quick analysis. If you enjoy Xenoblade or Zelda content, please consider subscribing, but also consider subscribing for Nia. Thank you very much, and see you soon.